What's up, guys? Riley Hook here, back at you again with another Minecraft video. But of course, by Minecraft videos, I mean scary stories. All my stories are written, edited, and performed solely by me, with no AI involved. And today's story is called The Stanky Leg. Let's get started. I stepped off the carriage and took a deep breath of the hot Spanish air. The countryside stretching out before me was a far cry from the city I'd always known. This is where my journey has led, however, because I'm looking for a bounty. I pull the bounty letter from my pocket and read it for what feels like the 50th time. Wanted for the massacre of His Majesty's Admiral William Beckham, as well as his family and crew. Various additional crimes as follows: larceny, kidnapping, adultery, plundering, and tax evasion. To the Kingdom of England return, dead or alive, one Captain William Merchant. I scan through all the legal frivolities and the inane bureaucracy of duchies and counties until I get to the one line that truly matters. Reward, 200,000 shillings. Good God. This could change my life. I wouldn't have to run around London chasing down petty criminals for a beggar's portion of food and the occasional woman. I could live like a damned king, or a duke at the very least. Behind me, I hear the carriage driver cough to get my attention, and I remember to toss a couple coins his way as thanks. The man nods to me, and with the crack of his whip and a neigh from one horse, then the other, he rides off. Whip, neigh, neigh, whip, neigh, neigh. The sound replays in my mind as I walk down the dirt path. It reminds me of the city, and I let out a long sigh. I'm going to miss that sound. The whip and neigh neigh replays in my ear the whole way down the road until I come across the nearest town. A local salesman stands at a crossroads, a tall, tanned Spaniard wearing loose-fitting clothes, waving around several drawn pictures of different animals and locations. He calls out to the people walking past. Pandas! 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 I've got broads of Atlantis! I walk up to him, holding out the bounty letter, though I'm sure to cover the reward. Do you know of this man? The color washes from the Spaniard's face. Si, I know of the captain. And I know you should keep far away if you value your life. Happy with my first lead, I press further. Well, do you know where he is so I can be sure to avoid the area? The Spaniard eyes me, seeing right through my request. Si, but I can't explain the location very well. You will have to buy the picture to know better of the area. It's clear he just wants me to buy something, but I figured a picture of the area could come in handy, so I agree to buy one. The man rifles through his many broadsheets laying behind him. Strange creatures and locations flip before my eyes, until he sighs and pulls out the one he's searching for. He turns back to me, holding it out, but pulls it back before I can grab it to warn me. If you are sure about finding the captain, you should know he's no normal man. Speak to Sister Marceline. She lives just up the hill in the church. She is a seer. God allows her to speak on matters of the damned and bless those who challenge them. What do you mean? I reply. Are you saying Captain Merchant is a demon? I will speak no more on the matter. I have my own family to worry about. Here, take it and be gone. Dios te bendiga. The man shoos me away, looks down at his feet, and grabs the rosary around his neck to pray. Luckily, I have everything I need to continue on my next steps. I look down at the broad the man sold me, and it appears to be of the northwestern Spanish coast. A small area of the image is circled with charcoal, and a little drawing of a skull lies next to it. Okay, I have the location. I better go talk to that nun for more information. I don't know about some kind of demon or curse, but she clearly knows something, according to the salesman. I walk along the road, the dark orange dirt kicking up behind me with each step. Some black beetles scamper across the road ahead of me. reminding me once again how far I am from home. I never saw black beetles in the city. It would have been a real crowd pleaser. Not the case with the people of the Spanish village, though. Everyone that passes by seems to be devoid of life. No smiles, no laughter, nothing but blank stares and melancholic drifting down the dirt paths of their home. I need to get to that church and see what I can learn of this place. I make my way up the path on the hill, sweat beating down my face. The Spanish countryside is so much hotter than England. I never thought I'd miss the overcast days intermingling with rain. I breach the top of the hill as the clock strikes noon, the massive bell in the steeple ringing out over the hills with a resplendent radiance that would make me think of God had I believed in such a thing. The great oak doors of the church opened soon after as the local sisterhood went out to tend to the garden outside. I walk up to the nearest sister, sprinkling a can of water over some flowers. She looks up at me with a friendly smile when I approach. "Excuse me, sister. Do you know where I can find Sister Marceline?" The smile on her face falls to a frown and her eyes begin to water. She looks up at me and opens her mouth to begin to speak, but stops herself. Shifting her weight, she says, "You'd better talk to Father Pietro. He's inside at the altar." I thank her for her time and give her a wide berth while I walk towards the church. I can feel her eyes following me all the way until I disappear behind the doors. Walking into the building, I am struck by the overwhelming ostentatiousness of the interior. Even for a Catholic church, this building would put the papal pulpit to shame. Even more surprising to me because the outside of the church did nothing to betray the inside's gilded guts. Gold inlays line the pews, the columns, the windows, and even the Bibles. Solid gold candle holders and sconces lined the walls, the altar, and the ceiling. Lit up by these candles was a massive mural on the ceiling, the magnificence of which I could only compare to the stories I had heard of the Sistine Chapel. Kneeling at the altar was Father Pietro, wearing a clean white and red cassock, his knees resting on a deep purple pillow lined with gold. A pillow in the color of royalty, along with all this gold? I wondered inwardly how the Spanish king would feel about this. I'm sure not to let these thoughts appear on my face, however. I need the father to help me. "Hello, Father Pietro?" I begin. "Yes, my son." He stood to look at me, his hands hidden in his clerical cloak. Father Pietro is a stout man, built like a thumb, with balding white hair sprinkling the top of his head and dark brown eyes staring back at mine. "What can I do for you?" "I was told to come ask you about one of the sisters in your congregation, Sister Marceline." The father looked at me with a mix of sorrow and anger. "Who told you that name? Who wishes to make me suffer so by your hand? Sister Marceline is gone. She disappeared 2 nights ago. No note, not a word to me or the other sisters. Just gone." "I'm sorry, Father. I didn't mean to upset you. I'm looking for a man." I pull out the bounty letter and show it to him. "He's very dangerous, and he's been requested to be brought to justice in England." The father nods. "The captain is very dangerous indeed. This letter speaks of his crimes, but do you know of his sins?" I thought about the details of what he'd done, at least what I'd heard in passing. He invited the admiral to a banquet, correct? Killed him and everyone with him under the guise of celebration? True, that he did. But that's not all. Betrayal is Judas's sin, one of the greatest a man can commit. The captain invited Admiral Beckham to a banquet on his ship, the Kwan, to celebrate a recent victory. Admiral Beckham had defeated the pirate captain Bartholomew Merchant, the brother of Captain William Merchant, though Beckham didn't know of their relation. You may not know this, but William Merchant was a Royal Admiral at the time, same as Beckham. In fact, they rose through the ranks together. They were friends. However, Merchant harbored a deep jealousy and resentment for Beckham. Being the son of a duke, Merchant always saw him getting special privileges in the Royal Navy. Killing his brother in a battle at sea was the last straw for him, and, using their relationship and trust, invited Beckham along with his crew, his wife, and daughter to celebrate. Everything seemed fine and jolly among the partygoers until Merchant called for a toast to the great Admiral Beckham and his victory over the pirate captain. All in attendance, save for Beckham's wife and child, who were forbade from drinking the sailor's wine, drank their fill and cheered. The merriment didn't last long, though, as the first to have their mouth filled with viscous foam collapsed to the floor, twitching and vomiting. Admiral Beckham reacted quickly from watching his crew collapse to the floor in pain, but not quick enough. He took one step, doubled over in pain, and yelled for his family to run. The captain's crew grabbed the wife and daughter and held them while they begged and screamed for help from Beckham. The admiral collapsed to the floor, holding his gut with one hand, and reached back to his pistol with the other. He had one chance to hit the captain, and he had to be quick with it. He swung his arm forward and fired towards Merchant as quickly as he could. The ball shot out of the barrel and entered Merchant's right shin, taking the majority of it clean off. "Stop," I interrupted. "How do you know all this?" "Because I was there," Father Pietro replied, the nuns filing back inside behind me. I heard the large wooden doors swing shut and lock, the father's hand slipping out of his cloak sleeves. He held a dagger in his right hand while he continued, and the nuns surrounded me. The captain came to me with a proposition. Help him kill the admiral, and receive enough gold to make the king jealous. I supplied him with a poisoned cask of communion wine, came to the banquet to bless the event, give grace, and ultimately give last rites. Afterward, they needed to fix the captain's leg before he bled out, so they broke apart the wooden cask right then and there and nailed pieces of it to the captain's sundered flesh. What happened to the admiral's family? The letter says they were killed. You will find out soon enough, just as Sister Marceline did when she started asking questions. She helped the villagers. They grew to love her, asking her for blessings and so on. Ridiculous. She was drawing too much attention to herself. I had to give her to the captain when he asked, as much as it pained me. You, however, draw no such sentimentality. The nuns around me all reach at once, shoving me to the ground and holding me down. I feel them taking my weapons, my clothes, my money, leaving me nothing but my pants. Finally, I yell in pain as my arms and legs are pulled to my back and I'm hogtied. The last thing I see is a scowling Father Pietro, crouching down to put a sack over my head. Then something blunt and hard strikes the back of my head and my consciousness fades. I come to in a dank, dark place. Unsure if I still have the hood on, the blow blinded me, or the room is just dark. All seem plausible at this point. My ears are ringing, and I can't tell if the moisture on my face is sweat, blood, or both. The ringing starts to clear as I hear a muffled scuffling across the floor a few feet away. "Hello?" I yell out to the sound. "Is someone there?"
"You are English?"
replies a soft girl's voice in the direction I called to.
"Shush, Annie. We do not know this man,"
adds a harder woman's voice, nearby to the last. I still can't see anything in this room, but my eyes are starting to adjust to the darkness. Thank God. The relief of still having my eyes washes over me, and I breathe an audible sigh. I start to strain my eyes in the direction of the voices when a third one speaks up from behind me, soothing and calm.
"Your eyes will get used to the darkness here, child. Fear not. The danger is outside."
My eyes finally adjust to the room around me, revealing a large cell, one of the walls being entirely iron bars, the rest of which are solid wood. This is the moment I noticed the swaying back and forth and the soft, muffled sound of waves crashing several feet below me. We're on a ship. "Hello? My name is Douglas. I'm a bounty hunter. Are you the wife and daughter of Admiral Beckham?" I call out towards the first voices.
"Yes,"
replies the woman's voice hesitantly.
"Were you sent to find us?"
Afraid not. Everyone back home thinks you lot were killed the same night as the Admiral. I could tell the news that everyone they know thinks they're dead, while disappointing, was not a surprise to them. Surely they'd been expecting that outcome all this time. That said, how are you alive? I had. Not many can claim to survive an encounter with Captain Merchant.
Captain Merchant.
She spits on the ground and pulls her daughter close.
That man was always jealous of my husband. He thought I should be his wife. My daughter, the daughter that rightfully should have been his, and a future that was stolen by my husband. The vile man approached me weeks before the banquet and tried to convince me to run away with him. Of course I refused, and when I told my husband, it almost caused them to kill each other then and there. I diffused the situation between them for the time being, but now I wish I hadn't. After the banquet, we were captured and brought before the captain, but something was different. He was not the man he was as an admiral. His eyes were bulging and bloodshot. His hair had all but fallen out, and that leg,
she shuddered.
It was rotting. Maggots and green flesh hanging off the wood, and the smell.
She gagged, thinking about it.
I don't know what happened to him, but he's no mere man anymore. He doesn't seem to feel pain, from the leg or otherwise. I saw him put out a cigar on his own chest, and a piece of his flesh that clearly endured that several times before. He was using the middle bone of his ribs as an ashtray, nothing but a small circle of black ashen bone revealed to the outside air. "There's demons in his blood!"
called the voice across the room. You must be Sister Marceline.
See, I was brought here for confronting the father for his sins of greed and betrayal, and for trying to help the people of the nearby village escape the yoke of control. I know how to cure the captain and end his tyranny, though he will die in the process. Fine by me,
claimed Mrs. Beckham.
The son of a bitch deserves to die. When I declined to become his wife again, he threw Annie and I in here until we learn our lesson.
Sister Marceline crawled forward with surprising speed and grabbed my hand. Looking deep into my eyes, she chanted,
"Dismantled from the poison's keg, forged the captain's cursed peg. With touch of rot and smell of smeg, beware the captain's stanky leg."
She folded a metal ball into my hand, and I could feel the grooves of some engraving on its surface.
I've blessed this bullet with holy markings. Fire it into the captain's heart, and he will be cured. How is he supposed to do that? We're all locked in the cell together.
I turned to Annie and Mrs. Beckham. This is hardly my first prison cell. Allow me to teach you how to Dougie. All the women folk love it. I pull out a long pin I keep in the waist of my pants and walk over to the cell door. I keep one of these in every article of clothing I own. I have another one back here in my hair, too, I say, pointing to the back of my ponytail. I then reach through the bars with my pin and start to pick the lock. It's usually much easier without the rocking of the waves, but after a short 2 hours, I unlock the door. After you, madams, I say, waving them towards the door. We all file out of the brig and into the supply deck, and we can hear the footsteps and yelling of the sailors above us. We must be on the Quan. Judging by how far away some of the voices are, this ship is massive. Okay, I turn to the women. I will go up there and distract them. You three get some of these extra cannons ready and point it towards the door. If someone comes down here to check on you, blow them away. Understood? They each nod in agreement. I hold a finger up to my lips to tell them to keep quiet with one hand and grab an orange from a nearby citrus crate with the other as I make my way towards the door at the top of the stairs. I knock 3 times and hear, "The hell?" and hear, "The hell?" on the other side. The door swings open and I surprise the guard with some orange justice, punching him in the mouth with the fruit. He falls to the ground and hits his head on the wood. knocking him unconscious. I close the door behind me and kneel down to search the man for anything I can use, putting his flintlock pistol in the back of my waistband and pulling out his sword. Then I take his cutlass. Sword and then cutlass. And peanuts. Walking forward in the fresh air outside, I can taste the salt on my tongue. It's already nighttime, but the lanterns along the top deck reveal a long Spanish caravel, equipped for battle. The dark silhouettes of 20 to 30 people drinking the night away dance across my vision while I sneak around towards the captain's quarters. I edge along the side of the boat, dodging the sight lines of rowdy, drunk pirates. A fight breaks out a little ways behind me, and I hear one of the pirates fall overboard. One less to worry about, I guess. When I arrive at the stairs leading up towards the captain's quarters and the wheel, I hear a voice yell out from the mast behind me. "Well, who's the stowaway?" Startled, I turn to see a large, bald black man wearing a bandana around his forehead, his sleeveless shirt revealing his bulging, muscly arms. The man is standing under a lantern, leaning against the mast with his arms crossed and a wide, toothy smile on his face. At this point, most of the pirates not too drunk to move are making their way towards me. Looking at the surprised look on my face, the man laughs and yells to the others, "I think he wants to meet the Capitan." I back towards the corner of the baluster next to the stairs. I can't let them see the pistol. A small horde of drunk pirates fan out in front of me to keep me in the corner while I hold the cutlass out towards them, swinging it towards anyone that starts to walk too close. The man walks up the stairs next to me and knocks on the captain's quarters' large wooden double doors. He walks back down the stairs, still smiling at me, and tells me, "Time's up."
"What's it?"
A big burly man comes bursting out of the doors.
"Who the hell thought waking me up was a good idea?"
As soon as he hits the open air, the smell hits me. Rot and decay fill my nostrils like death itself is walking towards me. Every other loud, thundering step is an even louder crunch, sounding like splintering wood ripping through meat. I'm still standing with my back to the corner when Captain Merchant comes into view. A tower of a man, a long black coat draped open over a large beer gut. Dark green pants come down to one long pant leg reaching his shoe, the other cut off just under the knee and revealing the horror of the captain. He cripple walks down the stairs, a pulsating, writhing mass of wooden planks covered in green, gangrenous mold are nailed to the remaining flesh of the captain's other leg. The bottoms of the leg bones can be seen grinded to a flat end on the bottom from walking directly on the bone shards. The shattered fragments that were once the captain's left leg held from falling off purely by the strength of the wood. Each step he takes knocks the wood together and shakes the gooey meat inside its casing. He has to be in incredible pain, but if he is, he's not showing it. Finally, the captain makes it down the few remaining stairs towards the one who knocked on the door, and the man looks up at Merchant with the same smile on his face. "Sorry to wake you, Capitan. Do have a visitor," he says, turning to look at me. I swing my sword in their direction, trying to ward them off. The captain continues to cripple walk towards me.
"Oi, he thinks he can cut me up. You didn't swing that thing at me first mate there, did you?"
The captain chortles, pointing back at the tall black man before the rest of the crew joins into the laughter.
"Don't you know I'm cursed?"
he says with a broad smile. The captain walks towards me with his hand reaching out, so I stab right through his palm. The captain's smile falls into a scowl.
"That weren't very nice."
Without so much as wincing at the pain, he wraps his hand around the blade, cutting his hand further and wrenching it out of my hand. I hold both my hands up and look at the captain. "Listen, I didn't mean nothing by that. Just trying to see how your curse works." The captain's smile returns as he slowly pulls the sword out of his hand.
"Well, why didn't you say so? I can't be hurt. Ever since my leg got blasted, I can't feel pain. I'm invincible."
Okay, but are you invincible, or can you just not feel pain? That wound in your hand still looks like it's bleeding pretty bad.
Or, you think you're smart?
The captain grumbled.
I'm invincible. Simple as. Maybe some more time in the brig will help you come to your senses.
He grabs me by each side of my shoulders with his massive hands and lifts me up and onto his shoulder. Thankfully, his left hand is on my back and he can't feel the gun. The captain carries me back across the boat where I came from, the rest of the crew following and jeering, and I hope internally that the girls have gotten the cannon ready. The captain, too, seems to be thinking of the women in the brig.
If I get down there and you've let my girls and the sister out, or so help me if you hurt them, I'll feed you your own innards. Me wife and daughter are almost ready to join me family, I just know it.
He said the last part with a sense of sadness that nearly tricked me into thinking he had feelings. As we approach the door down to the brig and supply deck, we can hear muffled yelling on the inside.
Quick, I can hear them. Grab another cannonball. It's heavy.
What the hell? Cobra, get down there and see what's going on.
The captain barks at the first mate. I'm still on the captain's shoulder, facing behind him, so I only see the first mate running ahead of Merchant before I hear what happens next. Loud footsteps run down the short set of stairs to the door of the supply deck, and the door is swung open.
Don't drop that!
Dun, dun, dun.
Hit the quan! Yells one of the crewmates among us. Everyone around got down low, swinging their arms in the panic. Even the captain got down low and hit the quan. I'm thrown onto the floor of the deck as I hear the cannon go off with a loud bang that shook the whole ship. Thick smoke fills the air around us while I scamper to my feet, the smell of the captain's legs still filling my nostrils through the smoke. I use the screams and stench to avoid the pirates while they can't see, and the smoke begins to clear when I make it to the stairs. I step over the remains of the first mate, laying in the doorway as just a pair of legs, and run up to the women. We gotta get you guys out of here.
Wait, we're not done yet.
The mother continues forward.
We found some barrels full of black powder. We're going to set this whole ship to blow. We need you to buy us more time.
The nun speaks up.
Dios mío, did you cleanse the captain?
Not yet, but leave him to me. Just be sure to leave a trail of the powder on your way off the ship. We're all in agreement, so I make it back out the door over the pair of legs. Shortly after I get back above the deck, the pirates are all getting back up.
Cobra! First you kill my first mate, then you try to steal my girls. I'll open you up right here.
Merchant lunged at me with his stanky leg first, pushing me to the ground, and he began kicking me, putting all of his leverage on his rotten peg inches from my face. The stench nearly knocks me out by itself. Being this close to it, lying on my side, I can see the writhing of the flesh under the wood, maggots and larvae worming in and out of the meat. He began kicking me in the ribs over and over until I could hear them crack. He puts his right foot in, takes his right foot out, puts his right foot in, and shakes it all about. Merchant goes to kick me again, but I catch it and roll his leg to my other side, despite the pain in my ribs. I get up and run past him, some of the crew just starting to stand, others still too drunk to get back up from the deck of the Quan.
Arg! Grab him!
Ducking between the flailing arms and slow tackles of the inebriated crew is easy work, and I'm able to make it back across the deck, but I need to keep the captain away from the girls. Merchant, you smelly sod, I'm gonna be rich when I bring you back to England.
A bounty hunter? I'll have your corpse.
The captain yells and charges me from across the deck, his cripple walk becoming a cripple run. He reaches about halfway when I finally pull the gun from the back of my waistband.
Ha! A gun? Don't you know by now? I can't die.
I slip the blessed ball of lead into the barrel and cock back the hammer. Merchant begins crip walking at me again, and I pull the trigger. The hammer slams forward, and the ball explodes out of the barrel with a cloud of smoke. The captain stops in his tracks and looks at me in disbelief before blood starts leaking from his chest. I hit him right in the heart.
"Oh,"
the captain croaks out before falling to the ground. The entire crew looks over at me with a mix of anger and surprise. One of them finally speaks up. "The captain's gold is ours!" And they all run past me, stumbling into the captain's quarters, tripping over each other. I run back to the women on the supply deck. "Are you ready?" They all nod. We open a hole in one of the barrels, and I help them carry it up the stairs, over to the side of the deck with the ramps leading down to the dock. I can still hear the crew members fighting over loot in the captain's quarters, while I usher the women off the boat. I kneel down and light the trail of black powder and immediately run down to join them, yelling, "Take cover!" We all hide behind some big rocks on the shore when I remember, "Wait, I didn't get proof Merchant is dead!" As soon as I step out towards the boat, it explodes, shaking the world around us, and I have to hide back behind the rock again before the heat hits me. Merchant's Stanky Leg comes flying off and lands in the sand nearby as the boat begins to sink into the shallows, popping and smoldering with tiny explosions of black powder still activating from the fire. Huh, that'll do. I walk over to pick up the leg and wrap it up in a shirt I picked up earlier. Now, to get us back to England, if that's where you want to go.
"Yes, please, take us home,"
said the mother, pulling in her daughter for a side hug.
"What are you going to do, sister?"
Sister Marceline looks up at us.
"I must return to my congregation. I have to help rid the town of Father Pietro. Lord help me in this task."
I have some things to settle with the good father as well. Rest assured, I will return to help you, I tell her, landing my hand on her shoulder. For now, we need to make our way back down to Cadiz and get a ship back to England. I'm taking you ladies home. And that's it. That's the Stanky Leg. Yay! Stanky Leg. Let me know in the comments what you think. Go ahead and leave a like and subscribe, all the YouTube stuff. And also in the comments, post how many dance moves and songs you were able to pick out from the story. It's filled with dance moves and 2016 rap and shit like that. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. I'll still be posting every other Saturday. Bye.